in NBA, NHL, they're going to be in a similar boat. They're going to have to talk with their sponsors about this because I don't know if they're going to be too thrilled with no fans in the seats either.
My question is this, gentlemen, and let's go back to NASCAR for the Atlanta weekend, Atlanta and Homestead. Yes, we knew that it was the starting of this pandemic, but do you think that maybe Marcus Lemonis and the sponsors from NASCAR said, NASCAR Atlanta, you're nuts. We're not gonna do a race with no fans in the stands. And let's be honest here, they have literally suffered dearly with not getting fans attendance in years past before this even started.
Exactly. I was about to say the same thing. You look at Bristol, the spring race every year. I used to go up there. You couldn't shoehorn another person in that place.
Right.
Now it's half empty. So the burden's already on the sponsors having to shell out more and more and more because they're not getting it at the gate.
What do you think, Brandon?
Well, it's a complicated issue for sure. Like I said, it's got to go through the sponsors. They have to approve this as well. The drivers, they got to talk to the drivers about that. But, it also has to be economically feasible to do these races without fans. And that's something that NASCAR and all these other organizations are going to have to work out in the coming weeks. I would personally wait a little bit until this curve gets flattened out because fans are such an instrumental part of sports, but this is completely up to them. If they think they can do this without fans, then go right ahead.
I'm just going to say this. For instance, watching WrestleMania, and if you didn't watch the pay-per-view, if you do not know what WrestleMania is, it is the mecca of sports entertainment. It is the gala. It is the showcase of the immortals that Vince McMahon created. It is still around to this day, 36 years running. WrestleMania, even though WWE did everything that they could to make it a spectacle, it was not the same. And I even said it talking with my brother in Australia, which, by the way, he's on lockdown. They're on national lockdown in Australia, okay? He hasn't been able to come out of his home for 3 weeks now. It just did not seem – it just wasn't right. And if there was anything that I could say to Vince McMahon about what he did and what they did, I understand why they did it. But it just didn't seem the same of not having 80,000 screaming people roaring, cheering, hollering, booing like we've had in 35 years past than having the people come down to the crowd and mimic and do their rotations. And, I feel for those actors because that's what they're doing. They're acting. When they come down to the ring, when they do their promos, when they do their bits on mics, when they come down and they do their pantomime and fist pumps and all the stuff they do it because they're hyping up the crowd. There's no crowd there. Mm-hmm. What's it going to sound like? Experience. What's it going to sound like whenever, we go back to Hurricanes hockey and you got John Forsland and Trip Tracy on the broadcast call and the radio call, and then you hear, he scores, and bam, the horn goes off. No applause. No cheer. No roar. And then, that's hockey, baby. Wow.
Just cricket.
There's an Orioles game that took place during the Baltimore riots back in 2014, and I've had a couple of friends that watched that game and said it was like one of the most unique things they've ever seen because you could hear the natural sounds of the game, like the ball bouncing off the seats, the ball bouncing off the side of the side of the field,
right?
Like conversations on the field. It'd be kind of like that. Like you would hear them, like the players like talking with each other, shouting with each other too. So from watching it on TV, it would definitely be a unique experience for the fans. But it's one they really shouldn't experience because fans at the game are such a big part of it.
Guys, we're dealing with a... Go ahead, Bruce. Go ahead. Bruce, Dolly's talking to you. Yeah. Dolly's telling you it's bedtime, Bruce.
She's kind of like my producer here.
There you go.
She needs some information.
You cheater.
You
cheater. Listen, go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Hey, that's only for sports, not for
You're not cheating.
relationships.
You're not racing.
That's right.
Oh yeah, we'll get that straight.
Yes.
Dolly was just mentioning to me that you got company businesses that sponsor races.
Yes.
Like I'm going to say one, and because they're the Raleigh Firebirds, they sponsored them. Golden Corral. Aren't they a big NASCAR sponsor?
They used to be, not anymore. They used to be,
not anymore. Okay, well,
yeah.
But they sponsored NASCAR for over 10 years. But think about businesses right now, or restaurants that might be involved in sporting events and everything, and they're not even open. How are they going to be able to sponsor the sport?
Right.
When they're not generating any revenue.
That's right. That's right. And this could not just be said about NASCAR. I'm thinking about Major League Baseball. I'm thinking about NHL. Yeah, I'm thinking about everything. Guys, CRN specializes in broadcasting high school athletics. Man, if you tuned in to CRN, you heard Brandon and Bruce and Daniel and Trey and Andrew on the call for some crazy, spectacular football and basketball broadcasts along the way with the Raleigh Firebirds, the TBL, with the Clayton Comets and their great run for a state championship. And then we were covering baseball and softball. And then it all stopped. What about our kids, our children, our future? They want to get back on the field. And I talked with a buddy of mine the other day, Nick Stevens, and guys, I know that the plan is for school to open back up in the Carolinas on May the 15th. That's still their number. There's no change to that. Still, we got another 30 days, 30 plus days to go on that deal. But I do know that their plan is, and this is what I was told, their plan is to open school back, do 3 days of practice, the 15th, 16th, 17th, and then the 18th on through the rest of the year. And guys, I don't know if you'll agree with this or not, because we got young kids here and it's starting to warm up. Double headers. Doubleheader baseball games, doubleheader softball games, and more importantly, get away from playing the teams that are not essential. They mean nothing. It would be conference play. It would be, you play Garner, or that's when we covered Garner, they were non-conference. That's 4A and 3A. Clayton playing South Johnston, Clayton playing Triple S, Clayton playing Cleveland, Clayton playing West Johnston. Those would be the teams that we would play, and basically it would be, okay, if we have 12 teams in the conference, in the Greater News 3A, mind you, this is what we're just talking about verbatimly, them that we cover on the CRN Sports Network. Everybody would basically say, okay, you're going to get 3 home games here, you're going to get 3 home games there, and then basically, you're going to play West Johnston 2 times, and that would count as 2 conference games, guys, if you follow me. And then maybe you're going to host, Clayton's going to host Triple S, and they're going to play 2 home games. But then they're going to go, you see what I'm saying? It's not going to be where everybody's going to play home and away, home and away, home and away, because they've got to find some way to make up these games. So basically it's going to be out of these 12 teams, Clayton is going to host Triple S for 2 games. That'll be 2 conference games. Triple S will host West Johnston. That'll be their 2 conference games. And then they'll travel to the other places. But they're going to try to knock out 10 conference games to then make a run for the state playoffs. That's what I've been told. I've been told that they're going to scratch. They're going to scratch the regular season play, whatever it was. I think Clayton was 0-3 because they lost all their games for baseball. The softball was at 1-2. Scratch all of those games, Bruce Barrett, and then they're going to come back and they're going to play conference play because it means something. And then you've got 10 games. And if you don't do good in those 10 games, then you're eliminated from the playoffs.
Well, it's just not the baseball and everything that I'm looking at. That, yes, the softball, the fast pitch softball. But if the schools do open on May 15th, would that be interesting if they were to allow them to go back to sports? You would have time to have spring training, do spring drill for football, and that would be a big deal for schools like Triple S because they just hired a new football coach,
And Clayton.
Deron Donald.
Yes, Clayton just had a new football coach as well. Yes.
Well, that right there would be huge for those coaches to get their program, try to get some establishment and the kids focused on how they're going to want to run their offense, run their defense. And I'm sorry, but bringing in spring football in North Carolina is helped North Carolina's football product at the high school level. I just believe that.
But guys, am I right though? Do you think that the kids want to play? I mean,
they
seriously.
absolutely want to play, Wesley.
Most definitely.
But the question is, will they be able to play? I mean, there's a lot that still has to happen, like we talked about all night. I'm going to try to refrain from using that dreaded C word, but it is still out there. And the resumption of the spring sports season is all dependent on whether or not North Carolina, as a state, can flatten the curve.
Okay, all right. Well, since
I wonder.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you was talking about double headers.
Yes.
I'm wondering if the Snowflake faction won't come in there and say, "Oh, that's just cruel. It's too much, and it's too detrimental to their health," and that'll be brought up, I'm afraid.
Well, these are kids, and that's important to understand here. I mean, yes, their bodies are still developing, and they're going through a lot of things right now because they are in high school. But, if they want to play, if they are willing to do these double headers, triple headers, then more power to them. But this is a decision that's going to come down. First, it's going to come down to the state government. They're going to have the final say on whether or not this happens at all. But it's also going to come down to the athletic directors, to the coaches, and to the players to all come together and figure out how to make this work. And I think it could work if we do, in fact, resume play on May 15th or whenever the schools are supposed to open up. But, I mean, there's a lot's got to happen, and it's going to be a tremendous undertaking. And I don't know how they're going to pull this off, but if it does start back, but we will see.
What do you think, Daniel Moore?
I mean, I'm kind of the same thing. Ultimately, it's going to, I guess, come down to if this explodes or explodes more, or if we do kind of contain it, so it is going to be dependent on that. But I mean, I'm all for the kids finally getting to play again, but I mean, as far as like the double headers and stuff, I guess that could be kind of a blessing in disguise, sort of, to get them ready for more important games if they decide to continue their career into college. And I mean, conference games mean more than just a non-conference game, so if they get into that mindset of playing conference games that really mean every night, or every win, means that you can advance, or possibly a loss would knock you out. It'll put that strain. Or
I mean, you got to win. You got 10
right
in the Greater News 3A conference. You've got 10 games. You got 6 teams. You got 10 games. You have to play. You have to win. And if you do not win, then you're looking at a bad playoff year. And me and Bruce, we called 3 of the Comet baseball games, 2 of the softball games. Well, actually, my apologies. We only called 1 softball game because the second one, well, actually, no, we didn't. The game we did got rained out. It lightened out at North Johnston, and then that's when the pandemic happened on that Thursday whenever we were supposed to broadcast it at oh my God, where the hell were we supposed to went to? I can't even freaking remember now. Somewhere in Greenville.
It was somewhere in Fayetteville.
No, it was in Greenville. It was in Greenville where I was going to, in Greenville. But nonetheless.
Got my bills confused.
Nonetheless, I've been quarantined too damn long. Nonetheless, I feel like, I want to see, listen, even President Trump yesterday in his task force briefing with the country said, hey, look, I want to see America open back up. I want to see sporting events happen again, even if there can't be fans in